It's a chance to represent Ukraine with pride. The Russian invasion means Dynamo are playing this home game 683 kilometers from Kyiv, the Ukrainian capital, with Lublin in Poland, their temporary home for continental competition. Their coach Alexander Shovkovsky has thanked the Ukrainian armed forces, saying that without them, football in Ukraine would simply no longer exist. The two players lined up for the Conference League anthem, and it is a special night for both sets of players, but perhaps for different reasons. And Darren, these are the nights that players get into football for originally, these big European nights, these big chances to really test yourself on this kind of stage.
Certainly is, Kev. These are the nights I miss as a player as well. Got to the semi-final of the UEFA Cup, which is obviously the Europa League now, and they're tremendous evenings. Home is obviously going to be even better if you're a Crystal Palace player, but this is the first of hopefully many European ties in the coming seasons, and they're going to just enjoy every moment of this.
Let's just remind you of the Palace lineup: Dean Henderson in goal, Chris Richards, Maxence Lacroix, Marc Gay at the back, Daniel Munoz, Adam Wharton, Will Hughes and Borja Sosa across midfield, Daichi Kamada and Jeremy Pino, the two tens behind Jean-Philippe Mateta, who has picked up his first ever call-up for the French senior team. He has played for them in the Olympics, but he's got a first call-up for the French senior squad, so well done to him. Dynamo Kyiv with Ruslan Nesheret in goal, Taras Mikavko, Aliou Tiare, Christian Bilovar and Alexander Timchik at the back, Volodymyr Brajko, Vladislav Dubinchak, Alexander Yatsik, Mykola Shaparenko and Andriy Yarmolenko. The midfield five, effectively, Yarmolenko, who made 86 appearances for West Ham. The lone striker is the Panamanian international, Eduardo Guerrero. Our referee tonight is from Belgium, Lothar Duntz. And the scene is set, the Motor Lublin Arena, which is a 15,000 capacity stadium. Palace fans have been in the Old Town Market Square in Lublin, around about half an hour's walk from the stadium. Officially 2,500 travelling fans. Darren suspects a fair few more have made the trip than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been sent all sorts of videos, as I said, and it looks like there's 20,000 Crystal Palace supporters out there. We've just been seen, we're looking around, I can see people that I recognise as well in the crowd, and it's been a long time coming for these supporters, and I'm delighted for every single one of them. 15 years ago they nearly went out of existence, and now they're playing a European tour, European tie on a night in Poland. Fantastic.
This is Dreamland. These are the heady days. FA Cup winners, Community Shield winners against Manchester City and Liverpool respectively. And could this be the first step in the league phase towards a European trophy? Dynamo Kyiv, a club with real heritage, a club that won the Ukrainian league last season without losing a game, their first league title since 2021. A club that's won 17 Ukrainian league titles, 13 Soviet titles. They've twice won the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. They lifted that trophy in 75 and 86. They won the Super Cup in 75 as well. And if you go back to 1999, they're not mighty Real Madrid out of the Champions League at the quarter-final stage. Here we go then. Crystal Palace, for the first time ever, playing a match in the league phase of a European competition, and playing from right to left as we look at it. The iconic red and blue kit. Dynamo Kyiv playing from left to right, all in white. And Marc Gay, the captain, looking for Mateta straight away. Palace going direct, but it skips away from the Frenchman all the way through to the goalkeeper, Ruslan Nesheret.
Oh, it's positive though from Crystal Palace. You can see straight away, as soon as Marc Gay gets the ball, Kamada and Mateta both going in behind. He almost millimetres from getting it onto Mateta's foot, and he'd have been one-on-one at goal. So you can already see the intent there from Crystal Palace.
Ball is hit long by Mikavko down the left-hand side. He was looking for the early run of Dubinchak. He is a player that actually started, like many of these players, in Dynamo's youth system. Oliver Glasner hoping for a great atmosphere, and he's certainly got that already. said there's a lot of respect for Dynamo. He said they score a lot of goals, but we know that they concede goals too. He said we have an ambitious group of players, they trust their strengths, and we have to treat this like the reward for winning the FA Cup. Here is Gay again. Palace fans so happy to see him still on their journey. He was so close to joining Liverpool at the end of the transfer window, but has stayed at Palace and has thanked Palace for supporting him through that. And you know what you're going to get from Mark Gay. He's just an ultimate pro.
He's a key player. He's a leader. He was given the captaincy at quite a young age when there was experienced players at the football club, and he went round and asked the experienced players if it was okay that he took the armband. They all said 100%, you are the leader of us. And it was huge to keep him in the transfers, but especially so late on. 2 minutes gone in Lublin in Poland. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 0. There's a foul there early on Andriy Yarmolenko. 125 caps for Ukraine, 46 international goals, 86 appearances for West Ham. Player that's yet to score this season, but so much experience, and that's what they need tonight. Ball is smashed along by Mikavko down the inside left channel for Dynamo, headed away by Maxence Lacroix. What a good signing he's been. Somebody who worked with Oliver Glasner before at Wolfsburg, and somebody that Glasner absolutely trusts. Yeah, absolutely. Along with Chris Richards as well. Maxence Lacroix, when they lost Joachim Andersen, it was like they broke up that partnership of Andersen and Gahey. But these two have just been fantastic since they've arrived at the football club. And along with Gahey, they play this formation extremely well, the three at the back. Lacroix, a player that's really settled down in his career, picked up 6 red cards in his Bundesliga career, but he's played in a much more calm fashion in a Crystal Palace shirt. Ball is with Mikavko, just in his own defensive third, rolls it back to Ruslan Nesheret, the goalkeeper, all in black tonight. One of 6 changes to the lineup from the 3-3 draw with Karpaty Lviv last time out. They conceded a late equaliser in that game. They've had some ups and downs in the league, but they are still unbeaten. And here is Gay again, seeing plenty of the ball for Palace early on, but that ball down the inside right channel is easily picked off by Alexander Timchik, who is a Ukrainian international. It's a mix of young players and more experienced campaigners in this Dynamo team. Here's Gay again, just knocks it across to Lacroix in the centre circle. The pitch looks fairly pristine on a chilly but clear October evening in Poland. A long, long way from Kyiv, but of course the Russian invasion of Ukraine means that UEFA games cannot be played in Ukraine. And so Lublin in Poland, Dynamo's temporary home. Ball is spread out to Munoz for Palace. 4 minutes gone, 0-0. Wharton trying to find Munoz again. Munoz with the ball across. Mateta tried to flick it goalwards under pressure. He's won a corner, but no more than that. But Palace threatening early on. Oh, it's excellent. It's excellent play. They're so compact. Dynamo Kyiv, they're so compact in the midfield. To get past them, you need to go wide, and Daniel Munoz makes a fantastic run. Wharton, we know what cultured left foot he's got as well, plays him in behind, almost gets it to Mateta, who's then lifting the crowd, he's G'ing them on. Absolutely brilliant move from Palace.
Lots of Palace fans behind the goal that Palace are attacking. Mateta rather, with his arms up. Ball goes in, headed away to the edge of the area, back in by Hughes, flicked on by Gay. Dynamo struggling to clear their lines, eventually away by their number 10, Mikola Shaparenko. And now Guerrero will look to use his pace and strength, but he ran out of real estate, and the ball goes out for a throw. Lots of European action coming your way on the Talksport network tonight. Got the rest of this game, but later on Talksport 2, we've got Nottingham Forest's first home game in Europe for nearly 3 decades. They're up against the Danish team Midtjylland in the Europa League. That's Talksport 2. Over on Talksport at the same time, Aston Villa go to Feyenoord in their Europa League opener, and Rotterdam's De Kuip Stadium is where they celebrated their 1982 European Cup final triumph. You've got lots of European action coming your way across Talksport and Talksport 2. Here is Lacroix in the centre circle. Palace with lots of the ball early on. We expected that. We expected Palace to set the tempo. We expected Dynamo to sit and try and make it tough for Palace and try and hit on the counter, and they have won it. And now they'll spread the play to the right-hand side. Dynamo to Guerrero, but it's a really heavy first touch from him. Takes it all the way out for a goal kick. It was 6 minutes gone. It's Dynamo 0, Crystal Palace 0.
He's struggling a little bit, Guerrero, at the moment. That's the second time in a couple of minutes that he's got the ball and just over touched it off for a corner or a throw in. Just needs to get hold of it. But you're absolutely right. It's a good shape from Dynamo at the moment. As I say, very compact. Palace need to try and go down there and use their width a little bit more, because as soon as they won it there, they tried to break immediately and find Guerrero just over-touched it. But it's a good shape at the moment for them.
Palace looking for history twice over tonight. Not only their first game in the league phase of a European competition, but they could break a club record if they avoid defeat tonight. It'd be 19 games unbeaten in all competitions. It is a phenomenal run. High ball into the Dynamo penalty area is a rather aimless one. It's pouched by Nesheret, who's only 23, a regular for Ukraine's under-21 side, and given the nod for this one tonight. Of course, Palace on a high after that superb win against Liverpool on Saturday. Played Liverpool off the park in the first half. Liverpool came back at them in the second, equalised late on through Federico Chiesa, but Eddie Nketiah scored the winner deep into stoppage time. What a win that was. Forward by Gay, just rattles the ball through the lines. It's laid off by Yeremy Pino, one of the new signings, and now Daichi Kamada, the Japanese international. Quick feet to take him away from the challenge of Shaparenko. He rolls it out to the right touchline of Munoz, midway inside the Dynamo half. Here's Wharton, just guides the ball into the penalty area, but too straight and taken by Neshel.
Yeah, tried to force it a little bit, Adam Wharton there. They're working it well, Crystal Palace, along the midfield, along the back line, trying to find Daniel Munoz down the right-hand side, who's always a threat, we know that. As it came back into Adam Wharton, a little bit forced in terms of trying to play the Hollywood pass, as we like to call it. Just didn't quite work out.
Ball was played long towards Yarmolenko, who's actually playing a bit more centrally than we thought he might. We thought he might work the right wing, but he's been coming in almost a 1 or 2-10 supporting Guerrero, and he was tangling with Lacroix there. He applauded the long ball towards him, but the free kick has gone Dynamo's way, and he was a handful there for Lacroix.
Yeah, he certainly was. He's a talent, isn't he? He's strong. He tries to hold the ball up, and he did. Lacroix just manhandled him, pulled him down, and he's given away a free kick in a dangerous position, actually. Now,
my suspicion is it'll be Volodymyr Brajko to hit this. Scored against the Maltese side Hammer and Spartans in the qualifiers. He can hit them. It's a long way out, though. It's a smidge over 30 yards, I'd say. And it's Brajko, and he hits it right-footed straight into Mateta in the wall. And then the follow-up effort is high over the crossbar. Jeers from the travelling Palace fans. It was not Brajko's finest work.
You know what was interesting in that? There was no wall. There was no wall. Dean Henderson, I think, had said, look, leave me against him. In the end, it did hit Mateta, but it wasn't actually in the wall. You know, the referee's got that chalk paint, whatever he uses, the spray, nothing. Dean Henderson was confident enough that if it got through there, he would have saved it.
It was a poorly struck effort in the end. Nearly 10 minutes gone in Lublin in Poland, and it is Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 0 here on Talksport 2. Here's Will Hughes, one of the two changes to the team. Finds Borna Sosa, who's the other. Back to Hughes, curling cross into the penalty area. That was headed away well, though, by Jacek. And now Dynamo looking to break. The attack breaks down, and here's Chris Richards. What a great vein of form he's hit. Signed from Bayern. And a player that has really settled down in English football, a US international. From a sporting family. His father Ken was a fine basketball player. And Oliver Glasner, who would have known him from German football, really bringing the best out of him. Here's Gay. Nice little stutter step to take him away from the challenger Brajko, and he plays it to his right for Richards. This is all in the middle third of the pitch, really. Across to Gay, 10 yards inside the Dynamo half. Inside left channel, out to Sosa, the Croatian. Comes in field off the left touchline, finds Pino. Yeremy Pino holding off his man. And it was a good piece of play initially from Pino. He was under pressure there. But in the end, the attack breaks down. Pino, a really tricky, lively player. And here's Kamada in the central area, 25 yards out. Pino's cross towards Mateta. That's headed away, back in by Sosa towards the penalty spot. Headed away, but not very far. Dynamo struggling to clear their lines here. Here is Gay again. 10 yards inside that Dynamo half. High ball into the box towards Mateta. They just skipped away from him and into the gloves of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, a little bit forced again. There was a couple of opportunities about 30 seconds prior to that. Kamada had one, Pino had one, 20 yards out, a lot of space, could have hit the shot, decided not to, decided to try and break them down. And it was close, weren't it, to Mateta? It was almost perfect again. That's good defending, but they're hard to break down at the moment. At one point there, Kev, there was 6 defenders, 4 midfielders, no one up front. They're going to be difficult to sustain that in terms of the Dynamo.
Alexander Shovkovsky, the coach of Dynamo Kyiv, was quite open about the fact that Palace were favourites for this. Said they're organised, they've got great discipline, quick attack, threat at set plays. Said they're in the best league in the world, and we understand that. Dynamo have had a problem defending set plays this season, but they have brought in a Polish set play coach to try and help them with that. We'll see if that works tonight. Here's Wharton in midfield looking for Kamada on the edge of the area. It just got away from the Japanese player, and then a sliding challenge by Timchik puts it out of play for a throw to Palace, level with the edge of the penalty area. 12 gone in Lublin. Dynamo 0, Palace 0.
He's so cultured, Adam Wharton, isn't he? He looks like all the time, looks like he's got so much time when he gets the ball. Even when there's loads of players around him, he's got so much time to pick a pass, and he does that more often than not. Really, really a good, talented footballer.
It's going to be a long throw here from Chris Richards. Oliver Glasner unapologetic about using the long throw. And it's Richards who delivers it towards the near post. Only half clear. Mateta hooks it towards the far post. Kamada will jump for it, wins the header. Headed away, but not particularly far by Brajko, and now it's with Kamada. Right-footed cross, and again that's headed away. This time Bilavar, who headed it a cross goal really rather than away, but it was tidied up by Aliou Tiare. It was a bit of a surprise to see Tiare start tonight, only 21. Player who's only started once in the league for them since arriving from Le Havre. Maxence Lacroix just tidying up. The one thing Dynamo are struggling with is getting any kind of forward momentum. Yeah,
and it's brilliant defending from Lacroix there. Guerrero almost looked to get beyond him. Lovely turn, but he's on his own. And Lacroix just showed his strength. Shoulder to shoulder, get off, come away with the ball. But as you said, he's on his own, Guerrero up front. It's going to be really difficult evening if they continue to play like this.
Slowed down the inside left channel to Jeremy Pino, the Spanish international, so good for Villarreal. Really smart pick-up by Palace. Of course, they needed a creative force after Everett Chiesa made the move to Arsenal. They've lost big players in recent seasons. Of course, Michael Olise has been brilliant for Bayern. Well, the goalkeeper did. He got himself in trouble there. He was faced by 2 Palace players on the edge of his own 6-yard box, really. And to be fair to him, he managed to pass it beyond both of them.
I tell you what, he found an unbelievable pass. As you said, 3 around him. I think it was Pino, Hughes, Mateta. And there was all within about 5 yards of him, and he played a lovely pass, Neshra, into the midfield.
Yarmolenko's just tickled the ball across to his teammate, and they can break here with Jacek, and it's gone out to the left-hand side with Dubinchak. Jacek let it run, looking for Guerrero, and it's smashed away by Palace. It was Lacroix who had to get there. That's probably the first meaningful break from Dynamo, and they broke in numbers.
Yeah, and you said they are dangerous when they go forward. They score a lot of goals. I think 21 goals this season in the Ukrainian Premier League. And that's like 6 or 7 more than anyone else in their domestic league. So they're very confident going forward. It's good defending again, once again, from Mark Gahey.
Space here for Shaparenko, who's arguably their most technically gifted player. 44 caps for Ukraine. He was always linked with a move to some big clubs, but it never quite happened for him. This is 222nd appearance for Dynamo. Of course, Dynamo are a big club. Ball played through towards Mateta by Pino. They're looking for that run of Mateta all the time. Of course, that's a regular feature of Palace's play. But as you've said, Darren Ambrose, on numerous occasions, it's about finding the right timing.
Yeah, I think he chose the wrong option there as well, Pino. He tried to find Mateta, which was a straight pass. If he just looked to his right, Kamada looked to have got in front of Tiare in the back line of the Dynamo, but he chose the wrong option, tried to play the straight one, just overhit it.
Play towards Kamada on the edge of the area. Kamada, who won the Europa League with Oliver Glasner at Eintracht Frankfurt. Hasn't scored in the Premier League for Palace yet, but he's got a couple of goals in other competitions. This is Palace's first ever European campaign to beat the Norwegian side Fredrikstad 1-0 on aggregate in the qualifiers. Did just enough to make it through. And they have another long throw. Chris Richards, who, given he's the son of a basketball player, should be good with the ball in his hands, is ready to take this one. Plenty of targets to aim for. He's got Mateta on the edge of the 6-yard box towards Lacroix, but there's a bit of a mix-up there between Guerrero and Jacek. They got in each other's way, and the ball's actually been nodded behind for a corner.
Yeah, a bit of lack of communication. To be fair to Guerrero, he held his hands up, said that was my fault, but they'll be disappointed if a goal comes from this corner because there was no one around him. I think Chris Richards under hit the throw-in, didn't he? So no one around them. Dangerous now.
Palace fans behind that goal making the majority of the noise. No surprise there. Corner in by Kamada, headed away from the edge of the 6-yard box by Guerrero. It's a gorgeous first touch by Borna Sosa and a good left-footed cross, but claimed at the near post by Nesheret. That's what Sosa's in the team for, that wonderful left foot. Saw that in Germany with Stuttgart, saw it less so in the Netherlands with Ajax, but he is a player of real pedigree. 27 caps for Croatia. And he's making only his 5th appearance for Crystal Palace tonight. What do you make of him?
I mean, the control there was absolutely fantastic. Let it drop over his shoulder, took it on his left foot, and almost caught Nesheret off out of his goal there. He was about 4 yards out of his goal. We're lucky to have a screen in front of us, so I was just watching the replay. It was almost caught him off guard there. But yeah, I've been really impressed with Sosa. And
we welcome listeners from Talksport. 18th minute in Lublin in Poland. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 0. Palace have had the majority of possession. Dynamo sitting deep, and Darren Ambrose, it's going to be tough to break them down.
Yes, it is. It's going to be tough for Dynamo actually to play this way for the whole game, because they're at one point they've got 6 at the back and 4 in midfield, and then Guerrero is the one to try and break forward, and he's not having the best of games at the moment. But yeah, if they continue to play like this, it'll be a real difficult evening to break down, but I'll be surprised if they can sustain this the whole match.
The Ukrainian champions have the ball now with their goalkeeper Ruslan Nesheret, who's looked comfortable in possession so far, and he's fired a long one towards their Panamanian striker Eduardo Guerrero, but not for the first time tonight. He's had a loose touch and the attack's broken down. He has to take better care of the ball if Dynamo were to make any kind of headway. Here's Maxence Lacroix finding the Palace skipper Marc Gay midway inside his own half. The Palace fans who've made the trip, thousands of them, making plenty of noise behind the goal away to the left-hand side. The goal at Palace are attacking. Here is Richards on halfway. Back to Maxence Lacroix. Palace have had lots of possession like this. Dynamo happy to not engage them until they cross the halfway line. It's with Yeremy Pino, just comes in off the left touch line and fires the ball into Will Hughes in the centre circle. And with 19 minutes gone, it's Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 0. Played back to Richards here, 10 yards inside the Dynamo half, around the corner from Kamada. Has he overhit it? He has. He can't quite find the run of Munoz down that right-hand side, and it's a goal kick. But Munoz, Darren, such an important outlet for this Palace team.
Really impressed with Daniel Munoz since he arrived at Crystal Palace, and the energy and commitment, desire that he has and he possesses down the right-hand side. His energy is just non-stop. Forward, back, creates opportunities, scores goals. It's still a little bit forced for me at the moment for Crystal Palace. They're trying a little bit too hard, maybe a bit of frustration. Probably 20 minutes into this match, haven't really created any goal-mouth action. They just need to be a little bit more patient.
Daniel Munoz, who was signed from Belgian football, he came in from Genk, and he was known as an attack-minded full-back when he was there, but he's come on leaps and bounds in this wing-back system for Oliver Glasner. Does seem to be round pegs in round holes, which is not the case at some other clubs with this system.
No names.
But that's another show for another day. And don't worry, I'm sure we will have that show. Hughes to Wharton, wearing number 20, England international, still looking for his first Palace goal. Adam Wharton, of course he is a passer rather than a shooter. Here is a bit of space for Kamada, moving from right to left. He finds Gay. Now Jacek trying to chase down Yeremy Pino. You wonder how much energy Dynamo are going to have in closing stages if they carry on like this. Here's Wharton inside right channel, curling cross into the area. It's headed away by Brajko. Jacek and Tiare getting each other's way. There's been a lot of that so far, a bit of nervousness from Dynamo. Some miscommunications out there. They've had ups and downs in Europe this season. They hammered the Maltese team Hamrum Spartans 6-0 on aggregate in the Champions League qualifiers, but then they lost home and away against the Cypriot champions Paphos, who've gone on to make the Champions League phase for the first time. And in the Europa League qualifiers, they lost a close one to Maccabi Tel Aviv, so they find themselves in the Conference League. Shaparenko's layoff, and then it's hammered down that left-hand side by Dubinchak. Dynamo, who finally won the Ukrainian league last season, finally finished above their old rivals Shakhtar Donetsk. It was their first title since 2021. Here is Pino down the inside left channel for Crystal Palace, onto his right foot, back out onto his left. Tricky player, waiting for a bit of movement. There wasn't much, to be honest. Is Gay curling ball into the area, and again it just skips away from Mateta, but they keep on trying that channel, and they feel that eventually it will work.
Yeah, I think it will, Kev. I think it will. It's again inches away. It was a really, really good cross actually for Mark Gay. He's come real forward from his defensive position. Again, Mateta's trying to stay onside, and that's why it just got beyond him in the penalty area. But yeah, I think they're so compact, Dynamo, at the moment, and they're actively trying to get Crystal Palace to play it to Daniel Muniz, play it to Sousa down the left-hand side, because they just feel they can defend these crosses, and at the moment they are.
Foul on Mateta in the centre circle. Frenchman gets to his feet. It's his first French call-up that he's received this week. He'll be part of that Les Bleus squad in the forthcoming international break. He's played for the French team at the Olympics in Paris, but not for the senior team. And it does feel deserved for all of the attacking talent that the French have got. He's in there on merit.
100% he is. A little surprised that it's taken this long, actually. What is he, 28 now? And he's only just got into the quality that France possess, of course.
That Mbappe fella's quite good.
Yeah, exactly right. But I'm pleased for him, and credit to Oliver Glasner as well, because the improvement under Glasner has been tremendous.
Here's Sosa inside left channel. Cross wasn't his best, actually, easily headed away. Will Hughes with the effort, and it was blocked by a Dynamo defender. He hit it on the rise, curling cross to the far post, flicked on, and Dynamo at full stretch able to clear, but there was an injury in the penalty area to a Dynamo defender, and the referee Lothar Dont has straight away signalled to the medics to come on. It does seem to be a head injury for Taras Mikavko, the 20-year-old defender, and straight away the referee has responded.
Yeah, it was Lacroix as the cross come in. He's tried to out-jump him, and as he's done that, he's connected head on head, and it looks a real sore one, because the way he landed as well, it looks really sore. Hopefully he's okay. All the necessary checks will be done.
Shot from Will Hughes was well struck. It was one that, had it got beyond the defenders, Nesheret would have struggled with, because he would have seen it quite late. I think that's been a feature, hasn't it, Darren, that they're playing so deep at the moment, Dynamo. That can actually be quite tough for a goalkeeper, because he wants them to get off his toes and get out. Yeah,
you know what I see with Dynamo at the moment? They look like a team that are not used to losing, and they're not, are they? They've not lost this season in the league. They didn't lose a game last season in the league. Yes, they've lost the qualifiers for Champions League and Europa League. But they look like they're organised, they're willing to work for each other, but they are really, really deep. But maybe that's a tactic, a game plan that they're having today.
Their coach, Alexander Shovkovsky, is a club legend. As a youth and senior goalkeeper, he was on the books from 1986 to 2016. He made 636 senior appearances. He won 92 caps for Ukraine. Took over as first team coach in 2023, left his job as an assistant with the national team. Just imagine being on the books, man and boy, for 30 years.
That's incredible, absolutely incredible. When you say club legend, it gets bandaged around a little bit too much, but he certainly is.
Mikavko and Lacroix both had running repairs, but play has resumed. We've had nearly 26 minutes in Lublin in Poland. In the Conference League, on Talksport 2, and it's Dynamo 0, Crystal Palace 0. Later tonight at 8 o'clock on this channel, we'll bring you Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland in the Europa League, full commentary of that. And over on Talksport, you'll be able to listen to Feyenoord against Aston Villa in the Europa League. Of course, Unai Emery, who has won the Europa League many times before, looking to do it again. Maxence Lacroix has had those running repairs and he's back on the field, and so is Mikavko, thankfully. But he's still rubbing his forehead, and that's a bit of a concern, which we'll have to keep an eye on, I think. Kamada works it to the right-hand side for Palace. Live Conference League football on Talksport 2, 0-0. Sosa with a volley cross from the left-hand side, and that's well gathered by the goalkeeper Nesheret. This game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. And Mikavko, unsurprisingly, is down on his haunches. I'm amazed they let him come back on, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think he has to go off. I mean, he doesn't look right. It didn't look right straight away as Lacroix headed. It was as they clashed heads. Normally they clash, they land on their feet and fall, but it was such power in the attempted header from Lacroix that Mikavko landed straight on his back. And I agree with you, Kev. I'm surprised that he did come back on, actually.
They're already a little bit light in terms of defenders. Denis Popov, who's an important Ukrainian international for them, has been struggling with a calf injury, so it'll be interesting to see what they choose to do here. They've got a few players who are warming up. I mentioned Shovkovsky. He was a fantastic goalkeeper in his day. He actually fondly remembers being part of the Dynamo side that beat Real Madrid in the Champions League quarter-finals of 1999. That Dynamo side included Andriy Shevchenko, who scored both goals against Real Madrid in a 2-0 home win, Serhii Rebrov, who went on to play for Tottenham and West Ham, and Oleg Luzhny, who joined Arsenal the following summer after that incredible win against Real Madrid. They got to the semis, they played Bayern. Bayern beat them, and then Bayern, of course, had that famous defeat to Manchester United in the final.
I'm just looking at the replays again of that Mikavko. How they've allowed him to come back on the pitch, I really don't know. He took a hefty whack on like the temple, and you can see a bruise is appearing as we speak, because we can see him on the screens in front of us. I mean, it was a real sore one. Just
looking from our commentary position, you can see that he's really struggling, and he's got that red mark on his left temple. Surely he can't come back on again. Here's Timchik, though, finding Yarmolenko down the right for Dynamo Kyiv. 29th minute, 0-0. Palace's first ever game in the league phase of European competition. Of course, their first ever games in Europe were against Fredrikstad in those qualifiers, which means the only man to have scored for Crystal Palace in Europe is Jean-Philippe Mateta. That seems apt. And Mikavko is finally going to go down the tunnel, and they're going to make the change, because it would have been a big concern to see him come back on.
It's so difficult, though, isn't it? Because as a player, all you want to do is play. So as medical staff and management team, the players saying I'm fine, they need to make the call, and I think they should have made that call, because it looked an obvious one.
Never ask the player.
Exactly.
The player's not going to willingly come off. Here is Gay over the top again for Mateta. They are determined to make that happen. That ball over the top to Mateta, but the quality has not been there, the timing has not been there. You just wonder whether Palace need to mix this up a bit.
Yeah, I think they do. It's definitely a tactic of theirs, isn't it? Going over the top. They've tried it 3, 4, 5 times now, and none of them have worked. They've defended it really well, or they've overhit it. I agree. I think they need to change. I personally think they need to use the width a little bit more. They've not used Sosa and Daniel Munoz near enough. I think they need to start changing their tactics a little bit.
Clearance from Nesheret wasn't great. It's come the way of Pino, but it was well tidied up by Timchik, who's one of the more experienced players in the team. And then Nesheret comes a long way off his line to hack that ball away into touch on this near side as we look at it. The Palace left, half an hour gone. In Poland, Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 0. Match day 1 of the league phase of the Conference League. It's the 5th season of the competition. 2 of the previous 4 editions won by English teams. West Ham winners in 2023. Chelsea beat Real Betis in the final last season. The other winners were Roma under Jose Mourinho and Olympiacos. Here's Pino in off the inside left channel, floats it to the far post. Munoz coming in and scores! floating header that completely deceived the goalkeeper. Daniel Munoz, who has been superb since arriving at Palace, makes history. The first player to score for the Eagles in a league phase match in Europe, and the Eagles are soaring again. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 1.
What a header, Kev. What a header from Daniel Munoz. And we just spoke about how talented he is. We just spoke about how he gets forward, the energy. He gets forward to score goals. He assists. It's a lovely delivery, Pino. We said, let's get wide. They did get it wide. Pino delivers a floated ball. Daniel Munoz arrives at the right time, headed it right back across goal. And what felt like an eternity of us watching, and we see it loop and land in the far top corner. Unbelievable header. Brilliant. And probably undeserved in terms of goal-mouth chances for Palace. In terms of possession, they deserve this. Finally, this might open up Dynamo players at the moment.
It's a phenomenal header from the Colombian, and Nesheret could only watch as the ball sailed beyond him and into the top corner. He could not have placed the ball better if he'd run up to the goal line and thrown it in.
That was incredible. We just see a replay of it behind the goal. And he kind of bent it with his head. It kind of curled into the top corner. Brilliant header.
Well, he has been such an attacking outlet for Palace since he was signed from Genk. Got 6 goals in all competitions last season, 4 of them in the Premier League. He got 5 assists as well in the top flight last term, and now Kamada has been left in a heap, and I think we might have the first yellow card of the evening. It's Shaparenko who's been booked. He's pleading his innocence, but the referee unmoved, and this is a real test for Dynamo Kyiv. And they were down. They're going to make a change now. They're going to bring on Voloshin, but it is extraordinary that they lost Mikavko. That took ages to sort that out, and obviously Palace have got the goal, and it does just seem to have been a bit of disorganisation for Dynamo Kyiv.
Yeah, and by the way, it was Tiare that ended up getting the yellow card, and it was an awful challenge, by the way. There could have been a red card. He's elbowed Kamada from coming from behind where he's jumping to head it. He's put the elbow into the side of Kamada's chin. It should have been a red card for me.
Well, Shaparenko had gone right up to the referee to plead the case. It looked as though it had been flashed at him, but as you say, it's Tiare for the challenge on Kamada. And Shaparenko spoke out of turn but didn't get a yellow card, so it is Tiare who picks up the first booking of the night. Dean Henderson has been pretty much a spectator so far for Palace, and that's the way they'd like it to stay. The ball is fed back to the goalkeeper Nesheret, who's under pressure from Sosa, rolls it across to the left-hand side. We've had confirmation of the yellow card for Tiare, and now Guerrero trying to advance down the left-hand side, trying to find Shaparenko.
I think perhaps they're going to need to change their approach now. The Dynamo Kyiv players, they're so compact, defending really, really deep. You don't want to lose, so then we're going to have to change their approach or come into the second half and change it. Will open gaps up for the Crystal Palace players, and I'm sure they'll look to dominate in terms of goal-mouth chances again in the second half.
Brought on substitute Voloshin, who is a forward player really at times. Nazar Voloshin, he's a player who's won a couple of caps for Ukraine. But they did seem really disorganised when Mikavko went off. They didn't seem to react to that for quite a long time, really.
They got punished. They got punished with the goal. He should have come off earlier, though, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
Initially on the chance, they should have made the change immediately. Make that call.
Palace made the most of the extra space. Here's Timchik coming forward down the right for Dynamo Kyiv, and he rolls it down the touchline for Guerrero, looked a long way offside, and indeed the flag does go up. If you're just joining us on Talksport 2, it's Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 1. Daniel Munoz with a towering far post header, the very definition of a towering far post header, and that has given Palace their first ever goal in a league phase match in Europe. And Dynamo have really struggled to get any kind of forward momentum so far.
Yeah, they certainly have, because they've just looked to defend. They've looked to nullify Crystal Palace, but now they haven't. Now they're a goal down. They have to change that approach. By the way, the support from Crystal Palace is tremendous. So all we can hear is them singing all sorts of songs. They're really, really enjoying this moment.
Just tactically, they've dropped Dubinčák back to left back, it seems, and they've got Bilovar and Tiare in the centre-back positions. Timčík still a right-back, and Voloshin seems to be ahead of Dubinčák on that left-hand side. I get Darren's thoughts on that in a moment. Here's Yarmolenko, though, approaching the right corner of the penalty area, but he's got 3 Palace players around him. Here's the cross from the right, only half cleared, though, as Brashko went for it. Palace have given it away cheaply to Shaparenko. 25 yards out, feeds it to the right, and Timčík. Back he goes now for Bilovar, Ukrainian youth player, but born in Hungary. And Dynamo have got all the way back. And even when they're getting a sniff of a chance to break into the box, they just seem to be a little timid, and they're going back into their own half. Yeah,
absolutely right. And it's purely down to the organisation for Crystal Palace in this formation. They're really, really working hard. They're not allowing any space for the Dynamo players in and around the box, and they're having to just turn and come out the other way. But talking about the players on the left-hand side, Voloshin and Dubinčák is there as well. I think it's a dangerous approach when you've got Daniel Munoz, the most attacking fullback there is, playing up against you. To play 2 attacking players against you could open up space for him.
Will Hughes goes in for the challenge in the centre circle. It wasn't his finest work, and it looks as though he's going to pick up a yellow card. And he almost makes an art form of this, Will Hughes, because it's his 5th yellow card in 10 appearances this season, but he's an absolute master at not picking up a second yellow card. I was reading an article about this, about players who somehow managed to walk that disciplinary tightrope for the rest of the match and not fall off it, and he's one of the great masters of it in European football.
He certainly is. I'm not sure he'll see that as a positive or not, I don't know, but
well, it's positive not to keep getting sent off.
Of course it is, but it's a dangerous game to play, particularly in Europe. But that was a nasty challenge, actually. It was a follow-through that was quite poorly timed from Will Hughes. He actually won the ball, but the follow-through ended up into the shin of the Dynamo player. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, it's a credit to Will Hughes that he does do that, and then he can just continue the way he plays, because he's very tenacious, isn't he? Loves to tackle as well. He never really picks up another yellow card, as you said.
134th appearance for Palace tonight for Will Hughes. One of 2 changes they made to the lineup. Ismail Assar dropped to the bench, and Daichi Kamada was put in the 10 position, with Will Hughes coming into Kamada's previous position in central midfield. The other change was Borna Sosa coming on for Tyrick Mitchell. Here is Brashko, who just works that out to the left-hand side, and a bit of space for Dubinčák now, forward from left back. And Voloshin, who has a rather expansive back flick, but the attack breaks down. And here they come again with Jacek across the centre circle, fighting Timčík, 10 yards inside the Palace half. 0-0 here on talk, rather 1-0 to Palace, just to scare Palace fans there. Palace 1-0 up against Dynamo Kyiv here on Talksport 2. 40th minute, the goal coming from Daniel Munoz, towering far post header. And later on tonight, on Talksport 2, we've got Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland. And over on Talksport from 8, we've got Feyenoord against Aston Villa. European schedule that's bursting at the seams tonight on the Talksport network. Gay tangling with Shaparenko, and the decision goes Dynamo's way. Ticking towards the final 5 minutes of this first half. We'll have a fair bit of stoppage time, I would think. Nice little turn from Shaparenko. That's what he's capable of. On the edge of the area, finds Yarmolenko's poor cross from him. Not quite sure what the plan was there from Yarmolenko. He just seemed to completely miss-hit it. But here's Brashko, who's picked up the pieces in midfield. He's found Guerrero, lays it off to Shaparenko. 25 yards out inside right channel. Out to Timčík on the right-hand side, and Yarmolenko again fails to find a teammate, and the ball goes out for a throw.
Probably the best period of play, actually, the Dynamo players. They've kept possession really, really well. Shaparenko is impressing me at the moment. The positions he's getting in, he's got lovely feet. But yeah, I think Crystal Palace are just looking to see this half out at the moment by the seams of it.
Dynamo have made an unbeaten start to their league campaign, won the first 4 matches, but they've drawn the last 3. Here's the long throw into the Palace box, headed away by Lacroix, back out to Timchik, who took the throw, and his cross is really poor, floats over the crossbar. Yes, Dynamo did win the first 4, drew the last 3, conceded a stoppage time leveller in their last one, which was a 3-3 draw at Karpaty Lviv, and Dynamo are now 2 points behind their old foes, Shakhtar Donetsk. 41 gone on Talksport 2. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 1.
It's just the end product at the moment. Like I said, but it was a good period of play from the Dynamo players, and this time it was Timchik guilty of a really poor cross. It was Yarmolenko before that. So they're getting into some good positions. We know they like to score, and they can score a goal. Just need to be careful and be wary of that, Palace.
Palace have only just shaded possession, 54% so far. Here's Kamada, surrounded by white shirts, and he works it out to the goal scorer, Munoz. Dynamo 0, Palace 1. Here's Wharton, floats it into the penalty area, headed back across goal by Pino, and Nesharet was onto it very quickly.
It's just decisions, isn't it, in the final third. I think Pino perhaps could have just taken one step back and chested it down. He decided to head it, tried to head it back across goal for Mateta, the on-running Mateta, got that all wrong. Just those final decisions could be key and crucial in this match.
There's Will Hughes just to the left of the centre circle. Those Palace fans who've travelled in their thousands, making most of the noise in Lublin. Of course, Dynamo unable to play UEFA games in their own country because of the Russian invasion. Here is Will Hughes, breaking the lines and finding Wharton. He's got Mateta on the move through the middle, but he goes to his right. And now it's a curling cross to the far post. Sosa was coming in there, just couldn't bring the ball under his spell. Came off his studs and the ball fell into the gloves of Nesharet. But Palace did open up Dynamo there.
Yeah, that was so unlucky. Fullback to fullback, or wing back to wing back as it was. Daniel Munoz, lovely delivery to the back post. And he almost, well, he did get in front of him, but just overhit his touch. Sosa, otherwise he could have been there 6 yards out, ready to tap that one in. There was an opportunity, Kev, just before that Adam Wharton perhaps could have slid the forward Mateta in on goal, but chose to play it wide instead. That was the right time to find Mateta. They tried to find him a lot in this first half when it wasn't the right time, but on that occasion there was an opportunity. Here is Lacroix just inside Dynamo territory. Palace lead 1-0. Daniel Munoz with the goal. Fantastic header it was too. And a great cross from Pino. Here is Gay's ball forward. The header away is by Yatsic, who's dropped a bit deeper. Forward now to Mateta, right edge of the penalty area. Tiare blocks the cross and then clears. And now Shaparenko goes down. Referee says that's okay. No foul. Wharton with the curving cross. Sosa comes in his volley. He's superbly saved by Nesharet, who spread himself really well. But not for the first time. Borna Sosa coming in at the far post, at pace, and Nesharet stood up tall. I think he's got to do better, Kev, I really do. And again, it's Adam Wharton, his left foot, picks him out beautifully over the fullback's head. He comes in on his favoured left foot. He just hits it straight at Nesharet. I think he's got to score. A yard either side, that's 2-0. Just gets it wrong and just hits it straight at the goalkeeper. Seemed to be focusing on hitting the target, didn't he? Going with that instep. Yeah, absolutely. But the goalkeeper had judged the angle really well. He was right on top of him. But Palace would love a second goal before half-time. Their last defeat, Crystal Palace, was in mid-April when they were hammered 5-0 at Newcastle. They've only actually lost 4 of their last 37 games. It's a phenomenal record. And of course, Oliver Glasner has delivered the FA Cup, the Community Shield this year already. First major trophies in the Eagles' history. They're third in the Premier League. 18 games unbeaten in all competitions. That is a joint club record. And it's the longest current unbeaten run in Europe's top 5 leagues. It is a good time to be a Crystal Palace fan. Isn't it just? You go invincible this season, Kev. Good go invincible. Why not? The way they're playing. Certainly didn't like that 5-0 defeat at Newcastle in April, so much so they've not lost again since. Look at the players they've lost as well over the last few seasons. To just get on with it and be able to cope with that is tremendous from Oliver Glasner and the team. I think the way everybody's dealt with the Gay situation's indicative of how they behave as well. But here's Shaparenko down the left for Dynamo, waiting for support to arrive. He had Voloshin making a really good run inside him, but he's gone the other way.
And it might just open up for the long-range drive, but that's deflected up into the air, and Henderson is able to take it. But the option really for Shaparenko was the run in the box by Voloshin, but he didn't look for him, and in the end it was Yatsik who tried his luck from range, and the coach Alexander Shovkovsky didn't look too happy about that.
Yeah, he's probably their best player, Shaparenko, but he got that one wrong. He made the wrong decision there. He had Yarmolenko coming in on the back post as well. It was 4v2 at one stage, and he just held it up a little bit too long, where he should have just played the delivery into the box. Got that one wrong.
We're into the second of 4 additional minutes at the end of the half in the Conference League. Live action on Talksport 2. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 1. Palace looking to win their first ever game in the league phase of a European competition. Nice little turn by Timchik away from Mateta, and makes tracks down the right hand side, plays it over the halfway, finds Yarmolenko to Shaparenko, one Ukrainian international to another. Shaparenko wins the throw down the right hand side. He takes the throw quickly, then just shovels it back to Timchik. Some of the more experienced players in this Dynamo team linking up on that right hand side. Now it goes across to the imposing figure of Aliou Tiare, who's been a bit hit and miss in the game so far. Some good clearances and blocks, but also that poor challenge on Kamada. And then again a ball that was played towards Yarmolenko, and he didn't really make much of an effort to bring it under his spell. He hung a leg at it, hoping he could flick it on. Yeah,
he's been poor actually, Yarmolenko, this match. The one that we've all kind of used to, and we know what he's about.
Kamada plays it through for Mateta. There's no flag. Jean-Philippe Mateta is away. Oh dear, he's blasted it miles over. He raced away, Jean-Philippe Mateta. He steadied himself, and then he got it all wrong, and the ball went sailing over the crossbar.
All wrong. Jean-Philippe Mateta, I think he's onside. The actual assistant referee put the flag up. The referee said play on, and I think that's what they're told to do. That shouldn't have been happened, but I think perhaps that would have been pulled back for offside had that gone in. But he got it all wrong, to be honest. Mateta blazed it. I think there could have been 2 goals there, Kevin. It's still gone over.
It's a strange one, because he's usually so adept at that kind of situation. He loves that ball in behind.
I've got to give him a little bit of the benefit. I've seen from behind a little replay that we've got on our screens in front of us, and it took a bobble just as he was connecting. I'm just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and spare his embarrassment.
But it probably wouldn't have counted anyway. Here's Kamada down the inside right channel. It's a great run. Daichi Kamada into the penalty area. Couldn't find the finish. A dribbling effort straight into the gloves of Nesheret. But everything that went before it was wonderful from Daichi Kamada.
Oh, I said they're waiting for the half-time whistle. I don't think they want it now. 2 fantastic chances. Mateta and Kamada just run out of steam, didn't it, at the end? Beat 3, 4, 5 players, and just under, no conviction in the shot. Maybe run out of steam, but brilliant run.
It's a very Daichi Kamada run, that. I've seen him do that time and time again in his career. Doesn't always find the finish, and he didn't there. And Palace have had their chances in the latter part of this first half, but we've got seconds remaining before half-time, and it is just the 1-0 lead for the Eagles. And it is the half-time whistle blown by Lothar Dons. Palace lead by a goal to 0. They're halfway to what would be a notable victory in their first ever league phase match in a European competition. Daniel Munoz with a towering far post header has broken the deadlock. Palace have had other chances as well, and Dynamo Kyiv have really struggled to get up ahead of steam in attack. And half-time, it is Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 1. Darren Ambrose, what you make of that first half?
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult. First 20-25 minutes for Crystal Palace. They had to probably get to grips of the Dynamo formation. They're very, very deep, as you said. At one stage, playing 6 at the back, 3 in front, and Guerrero on his own up front. So they had to try and work out how to break them down, and I think they've done reasonably well. I think they've been playing it to Daniel Munoz, to Sosa down the left-hand side, and it was when it was actually Sosa got forward, Pino ended up on the wing, and he played a lovely delivery to Daniel Munoz, and it was a fantastic header. They had their chances at the end as well.
The longer this goes on, Dynamo are going to have to come out, going to have to take more risks. going to have to open things up, and you'd think that Palace could find opportunities on the counter.
Yes, I mean, they started to, in terms of the changing the way they were playing. They have to come out and have a right go. So they started to. But yeah, you'd expect Crystal Palace to navigate through that and utilise the space that will create, and the quality they've got, the quality coming off the bench as well, that they will probably see at some point in that half. I think it could be a comfortable evening if that happens.
So far so good for Crystal Palace in Poland. They lead Dynamo Kyiv by 1-0, and you're listening to Talksport 2.
Online, on DAB+, and on the app.
This is Talksport 2.
TNT Sports presents.
We're all set.
Over 185 UEFA Champions League games. And all 342 Europa and Conference League matches.
Spurs have won the Europa League.
The stage is set.
Absolutely brilliant.
Get all these competitions in one place with TNT Sports on Discovery Plus, or watch TNT Sports channels on EE, Sky and Virgin Media. Subscription required. Age 18 plus. T's and C's apply.
You want the look, clean, close, sharp, but you don't have time to play around. Meet the Pitbull X5 series from Skullshaver.com. Our best-selling shaver, now even better. Smooth blades, stronger motor, better grip, built for speed, designed for skin. No mess, no mirror, no drama. 90 seconds and you're done. Fresh, confident, ready. Pitbull X5 range by Skullshaver. Available now at Skullshaver.com.
Einhell Pro Power Tools have arrived. Already, I'm uber excited. More power? Check. More performance? Super check. More warranty? Mega check. All powered by one battery for over 300 tools. With German engineering which doesn't cost a fortune. Plus, right now buy any Einhell Pro tool from your local stockist and get a 4 amp hour battery and charger kit totally free. Uber Super Mega Check. Einhell Pro Power Tools. The new kid on the block. See einhell.co.uk for terms and conditions.
The Monopoly game at McDonald's is back. There's over £2 million worth of cash prizes to be won. And a chance to get your hands on some epic prizes. Go on, it's your go. 18 plus, UK, ends 21st of October. Selected menu items. App may be required. May depend on winning moment. See mcdrules.co.uk.
Talksport 2 is your dynamic destination for all the latest sporting action. Featuring live commentary of all the biggest events, including football, PGA golf, horse racing, Premiership rugby, cricket, boxing, and all the big-hitting drama of the NFL. Touchdown! Plus, Talksport 2's official betting partner, William Hill, is always on hand with the insight and in-depth analysis you need. Talksport 2 with official betting partner, William Hill. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Talksport 2. Traffic and travel.
In West Sussex, the M23 northbound towards London is blocked. That's after a multi-vehicle collision just after junction 9 from Gatwick Airport. In Cumbria, delays on the M6 northbound after a vehicle hit a bridge near junction 44 for Carlisle North. In West Yorkshire, the M1 northbound is partly blocked after a breakdown between Wakefield at junction 39 and junction 40 for Wakefield Road. I'm Adam Moore.
I'm Jeff Stelling. It's another frenetic weekend of live and exclusive football on Talksport and Talksport 2. It all kicks off Friday night at 8. Bournemouth clash with Fulham in the Premier League, live on Talksport, while Wrexham battle it out with Birmingham City in the Championship, live on Talksport 2. Goes for goal! Then on Saturday from 12:30, the weekend of first-rate football continues with 2 games at the same time. Leeds take on Spurs in the Premier League, live on Talksport, and Sheffield Wednesday brawl with Coventry City in the Championship, live on Talksport 2. It's a fiery weekend of ferocious football, live and exclusive on Talksport and Talksport 2.
It's the reason Marconi invented radio and God gave you ears.
And that'll be that.
The Conference League, live
On Talksport 2.
Here we go then. Crystal Palace, for the first time ever, playing a match in the league phase of a European competition. Here's Pino in off the inside left channel, floats into the far post. Munoz coming in and scores! A floating header that completely deceived the goalkeeper.
Daniel Munoz arrives at the right time, headed it right back across goal. and what felt like an eternity of us watching, and we see it loop and land in the far top corner. Unbelievable header.
Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 1. And this game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Well, a big game for Aston Villa tonight. That's going to be live over on Talksport from 8 p.m. They're in the Netherlands to take on Feyenoord in the Europa League. Rotterdam's De Kuip Stadium, where they won the European Cup back in 1982 ahead of the game. Let's hear from the Villa boss, Unai Emery.
1982. Aston Villa won here, and last year we were playing against Bayern Munich, the team they faced it, and of course was something special. And today we can remember for our supporters, because our supporters, a lot of them, they were here, and we are playing again here. And this is European football. This is something always special to play in Europe, and we can add this detail because it's very important for Aston Villa club and for Aston Villa supporters. They know as well the difficulties we will face tomorrow. Firstly, because to play away always is difficult. Secondly, because Europa League is very, very difficult. Thirdly, because Feyenoord, they performed fantastic last year in Champions League. Every team they were playing here, they were struggling. Every team they play here. I played myself here as well with Sevilla, and we lost 2-0 in 2015 or 16, something like that. And I know here is the environment is really supporting them and pushing them and playing like a one more player for them.
Fascinating game, that one. Aston Villa starting to wake up after a rather sleepy start to the season, away at the Eredivisie leaders Feyenoord. That one is going to be live on Talksport, and we'll also have coverage from 8 o'clock of the game between Nottingham Forest and Midtjylland. What an incredible atmosphere that's going to be at the City Ground. Darren Ambrose alongside me. Darren, for Nottingham Forest, this means so much to them, doesn't it? Because you're talking about a club that was twice European champions. It's taken nearly 3 decades for them to return to Europe, and yet here they are.
Yeah, of course, and they need to enjoy it. No matter what happened with Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, Europa League, Europa Conference, they have to go and enjoy it. And I think we talk about atmospheres, it's going to be absolutely brilliant this evening. I cannot wait to listen to it on Talksport.
Yeah, your commentary team, the former Wolves goalkeeper Matt Murray alongside Joe Shannon for this one. Delighted to say they join us now. Good evening, guys.
Kev, Darren, hello. Good evening.
I mean, this is a belter, isn't it? The atmosphere is going to be unbelievable.
It certainly is, and already it's starting to build here on the banks of the Trent. The first of the Nottingham Forest fans have arrived at the City Ground, and the skies are dark now. The floodlights are on, and a stadium that has hosted so many memorable European matches over the course of the great history of this club finally will get to host another 29 years plus since March 1996, the last time Forest played a home game in European competition. They haven't won a home European match for 30 years, so it's been a long time coming, Matt Murray, and they started well, didn't they, away at Real Betis in the first match round?
Yeah, they were really good. Obviously unlucky not to get the win, but they were very, very good, and put in a good performance. Obviously under Ange Postecoglou, they're going to be desperate to get that win, that first win, and some of the performances have been good, but tonight, you're saying it there, I remember playing here. Under lights, this place is special. It's one of those original stadiums. The fact that we've still got some pillars in our way and stuff like that. The under lights. I always seem to play here under lights as well for Wolves, and it was rocking. The sprinklers are on now. The pitch looks so good, and I think as players, night games are always that bit more special. And then you're talking about the history of this club. It's just a proper club. Everyone grew up knowing about Nottingham Forest and those times under Brian Clough. And yeah, the fans are going to be absolutely buzzing for it. It's going to be a tough game, but I think Forest will be definitely favourites.
We know how much Ange Postecoglou will value this competition. He, of course, is the current managerial holder of the Europa League. But, Matt, how far can Forest go this time?
Well, they'll believe that Forest can go all the way. Under Nuno Espirito Santo, this was a top side, and I'm really interested to see them live tonight and see how, obviously Nuno's team was more of a counter-attacking team. Ange Postecoglou's come in. Will he be quite as open as he was with Tottenham, or will it be like when he played in the final with Tottenham, where he was a little bit more pragmatic? So I think this is a team that have been playing pretty well. I don't think Michelin will take many chances at the back to try and get the ball forward, but why not? When you've got the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White in your team, this is a really, really good Nottingham Forest team with some really good players. I think as well, Ange Postecoglou, he'll know he's a legend. He will be a legend at Tottenham because he's won that trophy. And it's about winning trophies. So Nottingham Forest will want to see their team, their fans will want to see them really take this competition seriously. So they will do that. They've got to get the balance of Thursday, Sunday games. But I really believe they can go far in the competition. Win it? I don't know. But they can definitely go far in my opinion.
Here's one for you, Matt. The Forest team has just dropped Matt Sells in goal, Milenkovic, Morato and Murillo back from injury, we think in a back three, with Ndoye and Nico Williams the wing-backs, Anderson and Sangare the two in the middle. Gibbs-White captains the team, Hudson-Odoi starts, and so too does Igor Jesus, who scored a brace in Seville against Real Betis on match day one. What do you make of that lineup? Looks an attacking one to me.
Yeah, very offensive. So no Chris Wood.
No Chris Wood.
Yeah, okay. And that again,
he's on the bench.
Yeah, so we're talking about it there. He'll probably play a part in this. But I think this is what's shown you. It's going to be a squad game. It was interesting when Gibbs-White didn't start against Sunderland, so he's coming back in very, very offensive. They're going to take it to Midtjylland. But yeah, I think this is a team that's going to get right after Midtjylland, and very, very positive starting 11 there from Ange Postecoglou.
Forest win coming up, Matt, do you think?
I do. I don't want to be a jinx, but I think this will be Ange Postecoglou's first win of the reign.
Well, we will see Talksport 2 tonight, Kev, for Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland, underway at 8 o'clock.
Thanks, guys. That's Joe Shannon and the former Wolves keeper Matt Murray, your commentary team for tonight's game on Talksport 2 that comes up after our match, Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland in the Europa League. And over on Talksport, same time slot, 8 o'clock, we've got live commentary of Feyenoord against Aston Villa in the Europa League. Loads of exclusive games for you, by the way, this weekend on the Talksport network. On Talksport tomorrow night, we've got Bournemouth against Fulham. That's 8 o'clock. Over on Talksport 2, an absolute belter in the Championship, Wrexham against Birmingham. So many subplots. That's 8 o'clock on Talksport 2 Friday night. Saturday, in the lunchtime slot, Leeds against Tottenham in the Premier League. That's a Talksport exclusive. A Talksport 2 exclusive in the same time slot, Sheffield Wednesday against Coventry. And then at 3 o'clock on Saturday, Talksport 2 exclusive in the Championship, Derby against Southampton. And then yet another Talksport 2 exclusive from the EFL on Sunday lunchtime, the East Anglia Derby, Ipswich against Norwich. That is going to be quite the occasion. Well, this has been quite the occasion already. Crystal Palace leading 1-0 at half-time against Dynamo Kyiv in Poland. Darren Ambrose, the former Crystal Palace midfielder, alongside Kevin Hatchard for this one. And Darren, we were talking about the rather chaotic way that Dynamo dealt with the injury to their defender, Taras Mikavko, because he went off with a head injury. They didn't bring on a sub, and when they were down to 10 men, Daniel Munoz was able to head home the only goal so far.
Yeah, awful. It was chaotic, as you said, and it shouldn't have happened. And as you said, they're down to 10 men and they conceded. And I think when Mikavko originally took their head injury, someone should have been preparing straight away. They said, whether he was going to go back on or not, go and prepare, get ready. And we see the substitutes warming up. Didn't look like they were that keen on coming on. And then to put Voloshin on as well, which is an attacking player, just seemed there was all confusion. And to go down to 10 men and then concede, it's poor decisions.
I was looking around to see if they'd already made a change, and they hadn't. And there is a change for Palace, though, at half-time. And the match winner from Saturday, Eddie Nketiah, is on, and Jean-Philippe Mateta has gone off. That's an interesting one. I'll get Darren's thoughts on that in just a moment. Dynamo Kyiv ready to get us back underway in this second half. They'll play from right to left as we look at it in this second period, all in white, and Palace in that iconic red and blue kit. playing from left to right. Back underway in Lublin in Poland. Palace's first game of the Conference League phase. And Darren, your thoughts on that change at half-time?
Yeah, unless it's an injury to Mateta, maybe that he expects the Dynamo players to change their approach, maybe to attack, and it will open up opportunities to play in behind. They tried, didn't they, with Mateta? Didn't quite come off. Nketiah's a bit quicker, he's got a bit more speed about him, his movement's always good, and look, he's full of confidence after coming on and scoring the winner against Liverpool, so we'll see how he copes with the defenders for Demo.
The Dynamo team, Nesheret in goal, Dubinchak, Tiare, Bilavar and Timchik. The back four now, Voloshin, Yatsik, Brajko and Shaparenko, alongside Yarmolenko in midfield. It's pretty much a five-man midfield. And then you've got Eduardo Guerrero leading the line. Give it the Palace team in just a moment as Brajko breaks things up in midfield for Dynamo. Here's the jet black-haired Shaparenko, works it to Yatsik down the left-hand side, the 22-year-old. Rangy stride, Ukrainian under-21 international, Alexander Yatsik, and he goes out to Timchik on the right, and the ball goes out. Palace then with Dean Henderson in goal, Chris Richards, Maxence Lacroix, Mark Gay at the back, Daniel Munoz, Adam Wharton, Will Hughes and Borna Sosa in midfield, Daichi Kamada and Jeremy Pino in behind Eddie Nketiah. The only goal of the game so far, scored by Daniel Munoz, not too far beyond the half-hour mark, and at the time, Dynamo Kyiv were down to 10 men and they hadn't brought on a sub for the injured Taras Mikavka. Here's Tiare up from the back for Dynamo Kyiv, works it to the right touchline, and Timchik, who's had some enterprising runs down that right-hand side. Alexander Timchik, his 113th appearance for Dynamo tonight. Second spell at the club, came through the Dynamo Youth Academy. And Dynamo have produced so many great young talents down the years. I think in the 21st century, the likes of Shevchenko and Rebrov. I think much earlier than that, the likes of Oleg Blokhin, who won the Ballon d'Or back in the mid-70s. Here's Munoz working it infield for Kamada. Lovely touch by Kamada. He's a gorgeous player to watch, Daichi Kamada, sometimes really technically gifted.
Yeah, he is. And you know, the term unsung hero comes along quite a lot, and there's a few out there for Crystal Palace. Kamada's definitely one of them. Will Hughes, another. Just players that will always give you their all. And as you said, Kamada's feet, he had a run in the first half, didn't he, where if he'd have gone down, we was looking at the replays, Tiare perhaps could have got a second yellow, but he almost got on the end of it.
Sosa finds Nketiah, left corner of the penalty area, tried to glide inside the challenge of Tiare, who took the ball, but the flag goes up, and it is a free kick for Dynamo Kyiv. 3 minutes gone in the second half here on Talksport 2. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Yeah, it was a good line from the Dynamo players, and Eddie Nketiah just needs to turn his head a little bit more, have a look, be aware that the players have stepped up, because he always likes to play on the shoulder.
Good foraging from Kamada down the right-hand side. He's won it. Tries to find Munoz. I think Nketiah got in his way, really. And his cross is charged down from the right side of the penalty area. Kamada trying to let it run. Was barged over by Dubinchak, and that's going to be a free kick just in field from the right touchline for Crystal Palace.
I agree, Kev. I think Eddie Nketiah, if he leaves this or just steps away, Munoz is coming onto it and he's facing the goal. Maybe he volleys it or he just puts one across to Jeremy Pino, was open in the box. Eddie Nketiah decided to take it, and now they've got a dangerous free kick from a foul on Kamada, was it?
Yeah, Kamada, who was fouled, and he was just trying to shepherd the ball out. He wasn't really going anywhere. Lacroix, Richards, Gay, all up from the back. They're loading the box here. Sosa's made a real mess of that delivery. Topped it, didn't get any kind of elevation, and is cleared by Dynamo Kyiv. They're not very far. Timchik trying to flick it on. Shaparenko brings it down brilliantly midway inside his own half. Guerrero round the corner to Voloshin, and Voloshin goes down. Referee says that's okay. It was an offside anyway against the Dynamo Kyiv number 9. But he does have a little bit of pace, Voloshin. He can cause a problem.
Yeah, and you can see already the difference in the Dynamo players, their approach to this half. They're already attacking Crystal Palace a lot more, playing a lot higher line, as you said, Voloshin. If he just held his run a little bit, but it was similar to the Eddie Nketiah one. It was a good line from the Crystal Palace defenders.
He's in really good form right now, Voloshin. He's got 2 goals and 3 assists in the league. He's got a goal against Rangers on his CV. Came through the Dynamo youth system, had a loan at Kyiv, and then came back. And he's full of vim and vigour and speed. Here is Lacroix in the centre circle for Crystal Palace, who lead 1-0 in Lublin at the Motor Lublin Arena. 15,000 capacity. Just about half an hour's walk from the Old Town Market Square. And Will Hughes just sat on his backside on halfway. It's the original challenge from Gay from Lacroix rather, on Guerrero. And then Hughes just pulling up slightly.
Yeah, it's always worrying when they pull up for nothing. No one was around him. He was looking towards the bench, wasn't he, Will Hughes, as if, I think that's me done. He's still looking towards the bench. That could be the end of his night soon.
Do you have the option maybe to do what they're going to do, which is bring on Jefferson Lerma? It was a like-for-like change, really. Colombian who signed from Bournemouth, very steady player in midfield. And Will Hughes just slowly moving to the touchline. And on comes Jefferson Lerma, and that's not much of a disruption, is it really?
No, it's like for like, as you said. Jefferson Lerma will get in there. He's energetic. He's a little bit similar to Will Hughes, so it's not going to be much change to the formation there.
He loves a card as well.
Yeah, he does, yeah. And that's why Will Hughes never picks up a second. He's gone off.
Can open the shop between them, the pair of them. Here's Munoz clearing from his right back zone for a Crystal Palace team that leads in their first ever league phase game in European competition, and they are on the way to a club record 19th straight game unbeaten in all competitions. It's knocked back to Mark Gay, inside left channel, midway inside his own half. Seen plenty of the ball, Mark Gay. Back to a man who hasn't really seen plenty of the ball, Dean Henderson. Given the nod for tonight. Here is Munoz in lots of space down the right-hand side. He can drive to the edge of the penalty area, low ball to the edge of the box. The shot was tame from Yeremy Pino all along the floor and into the gloves of goalkeeper Ruslan Nesheret.
Oh, it's wonderful stuff, Kev. From Dean Henderson all the way forward. And the pass from Eddie Nketiah without looking to find Daniel Munoz down the right-hand side. And then he cuts it back to Yeremy Pino. That would have been a tremendous goal from back to front. It would have been brilliant.
Tiari has taken a bit of a chance there against Munoz, who closed him down, but he just about danced away from him. And now Voloshin gets beyond the challenge of Wharton, approaching halfway here. Nazar Voloshin, it's a really good run out to Shaparenko into the penalty area, plays it across, and it goes behind for the goal kick. It was neither a cross nor a shot really from Shaparenko. He seemed to get stuck between two ideas, and in the end Crystal Palace survive.
Yeah, and again, I was just speaking about the Crystal Palace break from back to front, almost identical from the Dynamo players. And up to Shaparenko, and he just got it wrong. It was neither a cross or a shot towards the back post. And the forward players, Guerrero and Voloshin, are pretty frustrated with that as well. May have been a hint of offside, but yeah, it was a good move forward.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't have counted. Shaparenko was just beyond the last man when he received possession. But that's a scare for Palace in the sense that suddenly Dynamo Kyiv had space and time to manoeuvre, and Voloshin has looked a lot more lively than the man who's led the attack from the get-go, Eduardo Guerrero. He has struggled tonight so far. Player who joined from Zorya last year. Pino trying to chase down a high bouncing ball, and he does just that. Now Gay works it to the fair head Sosa down that left-hand side. Back it goes to Gay, who just rolls it into the feet of Pino. He's a whirling dervish, Pino. He's always on the move, always trying to make something happen. Here is Gay in off the left-hand side. Works it to Wharton. That's a clever ball. And now Nketiah twisting and turning. Fantastic fantastic goal, but the flag goes up. He took it so well. A wry smile from Eddie Nketiah as he drilled it into the bottom corner, but the flag goes up. Oliver Glasner asking the question as to whether that's going to be checked. Of course it will be. Darren Ambrose, what was your first instinct?
My initial thoughts were he was offside. He wanted the initial pass from Mark Gahey. He went early, and he could be on, you know. Again, we're lucky to have a screen in front of us to get the highlight. It's really, really tight. The left back looks to be playing him onside, but it might be one of those where he's lent, Kev, and it's going to be millimetres, this one. Lovely take, though, wasn't it? Turned in the box and then gave the goalkeeper the eyes.
Really
finished
sharp.
it off.
Really sharp from Eddie Nketiah. The question is the number 44, Vladislav Dubinčak, playing him on? He tried to hold his run. He tried to time it right. Did he get it just about right? He did not, and the goal does not stand. And Dubinčak can breathe a big, big sigh of relief.
Yeah, it'll be millimetres. It really will. It'll be him leaning. I'm interested to see the lines, whether we're going to get to see these, but it'll be him leaning over because the feet seem to be onside. He timed it perfectly.
It's top half of the body, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Great take and goal, though. Great finish.
Well, it shows the confidence, doesn't it? And he took that goal against Liverpool in stoppage time, the goal that beat the Premier League champions, very, very well. Strikers, more than most players, seem to thrive on that confidence. Timchik went down, referee says that's okay, no foul. And now the ball played down the left-hand side for Kamada, waiting for support to arrive. Dachi Kamada in on his right foot, then he took one turn too many, really, and was dispossessed by Bilovar. Here's Lerma, 25 yards out, inside left channel. Jefferson Lerma plays it square to Gay. Palace trying to get some momentum here. 12 minutes gone in the second half on Talksport 2. Lovely turn by Pino, outside of the boot, and now Nketiah does score. What a few days he's having. The winner against Liverpool, and now he doubles Crystal Palace's lead. A striker's goal, a dart at the near post, and an instinctive finish. And it's Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 2.
And you asked about the change. Mateta going off, Eddie Nketiah coming on, that's why. He sniffs out a chance, and it's absolutely outstanding play from Jeroen Pino down the left-hand side. A little drag back and round Brashko, who tried to track him back, got into the box, picked his timing of the pass, absolutely perfect. And Eddie Nketiah has come from the back post and got in front of, I think it's Tiare at the front post, and a lovely flip. There's the confidence you're talking about, Kev. The skill from Pino and the finish from Nketiah, brilliant, deserved the goal.
Jeremy Pino set up both goals tonight. It was twinkle toe play. Brashko was deceived, bamboozled, and Eddie Nketiah darting across the near post with a fine volleyed finish beyond Nesheret, and Crystal Palace have breathing space in their first ever game in the league phase of a European competition. Uncharted waters for them, and they are loving every moment. He got 7 goals in all competitions last season, a modest return. He's scoring big goals so far this term, and listen to the Palace fans.
Great following, great support, and it could get even better soon.
Munoz with a low ball into the penalty area, that's hammered away by Brashko. Palace trying to keep the pressure on. A third goal would give them real comfort in Lublin. Gay goes down under the challenge of Yarmolenko, and that's going to be a free kick to Crystal Palace. They've got 5 league phase games after this, at home to AEK Larnaca, RZ and the Finnish side Kups. They'll travel to face Strasbourg and Shelbourne. A couple of really interesting away games. That trip to Strasbourg is going to be fascinating. They're going really well at the moment. Got a fair few players from Chelsea, of course. Very strong bonds between the two clubs. It was neat work from Brashko on the edge of his own penalty area to find Bilovar, the young centre-back. But Dynamo Kyiv have found it so difficult to progress the ball in this game, and Palace have been at them. This game being brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. And we've got 2 more European commentaries for you tonight. Talksport 2 will be the place to be for Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland at the City Grounds. And then over on Talksport, Feyenoord against Aston Villa. Both of those games in the Europa League. And you'll hear every kick across the Talksport network. And Palace have not looked flustered at any stage so far tonight.
No, patient, as we said. They worked out the formation that Dynamo players were playing in the first half. They've got to grips with it, particularly in the second half, because they've come out, Dynamo, and they've tried to attack. This opened up spaces, and it's a perfect substitution having Eddie Nketiah on just to find those little spaces. And I'm pleased for him. As you said, 7 in all comps last season. Criticised a little bit. He's on a real rich vein of form now, isn't he?
Yeah, the former Arsenal man having a purple patch. And Shaparenko for Dynamo Kyiv, but a poor ball from him, too close to Dean Henderson. That's where it's really broken down for Dynamo in that final third. They have been scoring goals domestically, but if you look through their history, their record against English teams is pretty poor. They've played 30 games against English opposition down the years. They've only won 5. The only team they've beaten more than once is Arsenal. Kamada's cross from the right, only half cleared by Tiare. He's had a tough night tonight, lacks experience. But then Palace happy to go back to halfway and just reset. 62nd minute, Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 2. Daniel Munoz in the first half. Eddie Nketiah came on as a half-time sub for Mateta, has scored in the second. Here's Munoz wearing number 2. Constant presence down that right-hand side. It just strikes you, Darren Ambrose, as a Palace team that's comfortable in all departments. They all know the job.
Absolutely, well drilled. On the training ground, they must work hours and hours on this formation, where they're supposed to be. Jesper Lerman's come on for Will Hughes, knows exactly what he's doing, and Nketiah's come on for Mateta, knows exactly what he's doing. That's good management, that's good coaching, and that's players buying into that as well. Been really impressed with them, and I think they'll want more goals. I think they'll want to make a statement in this first match.
I look at Yeremy Pino, he's only just come in, joined from Villarreal, and he has set up 2 goals tonight. Said it was his dream to come to the Premier League, wants the club to be happy with his performances. I think it's fair to say they'll be pretty happy tonight.
Yeah, he's looked really good. He's comfortable on the ball, isn't he? He's comfortable in possession. You lose players like Elise last year, you lose players like Ezra this year, but you gain players like Yeremy Pino to come in and try and be that main man, that main player, and he's certainly thriving on it.
He's different to Ezra in the way that he interprets the position, but he's somebody that can really threaten out in wide areas as well as through the middle. And it looks as though Dynamo are going to make a double change here as they look to rather rescue this. One of the changes is going to be Shola Ogundana, who's a 20-year-old Nigerian-born player. He's lively. Signed him from Flamengo. I think the other player that they might bring on is Mikhail Yonok, who's a good attacking player, drives forward well from midfield. They've lacked that spark tonight, Dynamo Kyiv. You have to underline how difficult it is for them, not able to play a home game in Europe because of the ongoing Russian invasion and aggression, not able to have any kind of consistency in that regard. Lublin will be their home for home games in this competition, and one of their players, Kabayev, has talked about that. Vladislav Kabayev, he said we travel a lot more and it is exhausting, so we're constantly on the move, we have to do all types of recovery, families aren't around, so it's difficult psychologically. I can't even begin to imagine how hard it's been for them, how hard it's been for Shakhtar, and the fact that they're even in the league phase of a European tournament is really quite something.
Yeah, it must be awful, as we spoke about before, playing the home games miles and miles away from your home country, your home support. It's really difficult.
Here's Nketiah moving into space, and the low shot caused a real problem for the goalkeeper Nesheret, who just about touched that around the far post. That was not a sure-handed save, but it got the job done.
I thought it was in. We're right behind it here. I thought it was in. It was nestling into the bottom corner, the bottom right-hand corner of the goalkeeper. And he's done well, eventually done well. It did look like he was going under his arms, but he just pushed it wide for a corner kick.
Well, that would have been the goal to wrap up the game, you sense. 65 gone in Lublin in Poland. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 2. Goals from Munoz and Nketiah the difference. Both set up by Yeremy Pino, and they have this corner. Kamada will take it. Good shape on that. Goalkeeper was struggling. He got stuck underneath it, but he just about poured the ball away. He's cleared his penalty area as far as Lerma. Low ball to Wharton on the edge of the penalty area, back towards Lerma, and he's put behind for another corner by Dubinchak.
Done really well there, Neshire. I just thought he just ran under it too much. It was going to go right over him and land on Lacroix's head. He just stretched out his long right arm and pushed it behind him.
It was one of those where he made life a lot tougher for himself than it needed to be, but it looked spectacular anyway. He's on his toes here, waiting for this Borna Sosa corner from the right-hand side. It'll be an in-swinger. Raises his right hand, and here it comes from Sosa towards the near post, headed away. Richards was lurking, and then the shot from the edge of the area is high, wide, and not too handsome from Yeremy Pino. Well, he's allowed to get a few things wrong here and there.
Yeah, he won't like that one. He won't want to see that one again. But he tried the spectacular. If you don't try, you don't get, do you? And that's the famous quotes. If you don't shoot, you don't score. And this one, Wharton just lays it off. It's 20 yards out. He's bouncing towards him, but it's gone high and high and high.
He's capable from that kind of range, but got it all wrong. And changes made here by Dynamo Kyiv. They've taken off Yarmolenko and they've taken off Jacek, and they've brought on Shola Ogundana, who's a winger. He'll be a direct replacement for Yarmolenko, really. And they brought on Alexander Pikalyonok, who is a Ukraine international, box-to-box midfielder. He's got a goal and 4 assists in the league this season. Tidy player. Ball played down the inside left channel by Dubinchak, and he gave it away rather cheaply. And Palace are looking really dangerous here. They look more likely to get a third than Dynamo look to get back into the game at the moment. Here's Kamada. Rolls it out to the right-hand side of Munoz. Now Wharton just drifts it into the penalty area, and Nketiah tried to be really clever there. He tried to duck underneath it and let the ball run, but the goalkeeper read the angle and was able to take it.
Yeah, I think he just tried to flick it himself, maybe just to get a little bit more of an angle, going wide of the goalkeeper. But I'm impressed, actually, with Neshret tonight. No chance on either goal. And he's done things really, really impressive in terms of taking crosses and reading situations like he did just then.
Yarmolenko was far from happy, and he's grabbed his coat and he's gone straight down the tunnel.
Well, he's disappointed he's come off. He's not done much for me in terms of what we know he's capable of. So yeah, I think it was the right decision to take him off. But yeah, he seems to have grabbed his coat and he's off for a shower.
Listen to the reception for Yeremy Pino. He comes off. Justin Deveni on for him, and Kamada coming off as well. So the two 10s being replaced, and Ismail Assar, who may well have started tonight, has come on. And it just shows you, there's been a lot of talk about can Palace's squad cope with the Premier League and cope with Europe. If you could bring on Justin Deveni and Ismail Assar for Kamada and Pino, pretty well stocked in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. Ismail Assar will look and he'll think there's goals in this match, and he'll certainly be trying to add to the two that Palace have got already. And along with Lerma and Nketiah as well, I feel their squad, barring injuries that will happen inevitably, they can handle it.
Ismail Assar has scored in 4 of his 7 games this season, including that win over Liverpool on Saturday. He got the opener from close range. And what a player he was in the back end of that FA Cup run as well. Some great performances in that. Palace qualifying for Europe by winning the FA Cup final against Manchester City. Of course, they did qualify for the Europa League, but as we know, they were demoted to the Conference League due to UEFA's multi-club ownership rules, due to the businessman John Textor's involvement with both Palace and Lyon. Oliver Glasner said if you get punished when you feel you're innocent, it's pretty tough. But it went all the way to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and they judged that there was no error in that judgment. But Palace may well end up in a competition that they can win. They are the favourites to win the Conference League. Here's Voloshin going on the outside of Richards, and Richards got a cross, got a tickle on the ball, and puts it behind for a Dynamo Kyiv corner.
Had to time that right, didn't he? Richards dived in a little bit. He got that wrong. He was heading into the penalty. It was probably going to be just outside. Yeah, he timed it perfectly. Good challenge. May have been a goal kick, may have come off the Dynamo player.
Played it short. It's whipped in by Mikalyonok. It's come as far as Okundana, who caught that really well. It was a right-footed shot from around about 25 yards out, but Palace able to get a block in there, and now Wharton trying to squeeze it through for Nketiah down the inside left channel, but across comes Timchik and is able to clear. 72nd minute in Lublin in Poland. Crystal Palace with their first ever league stage game in a European competition, and they lead Dynamo Kyiv by 2-0, and they're heading for a 19th straight game unbeaten, which would be a new club record. Here's Voloshin, who has looked lively since coming on for Dynamo Kyiv, raiding down the middle of the pitch, midway inside the Palace half. They worked it to the right, but the attack breaks down between the two substitutes, Mikalyonok and Ogundana. They've just lacked that clarity, that quality in the final third to really hurt Palace.
Yeah, they just seem to be running out of ideas as well now. In the last 18 plus whatever's added at the end, they've not really created too much. They had the game plan set out, didn't they, to nullify Crystal Palace. It hasn't worked, and I just feel Crystal Palace can either play this how they want, see out the game now, or potentially go and get one or two more.
It's interesting, Mikalyonok, who's come on as a sub, does say the team's currently making too many mistakes. So it's a tough period at the moment. We keep letting in late equalisers, throwing away leads. We've missed far too many chances. He described this as a tough and interesting challenge. Well, it's definitely been tough. Bit of space here for Gay, midway inside his own half for Crystal Palace, who lead 2-0 on Talksport 2. Later on tonight, we've got Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland in the Europa League. First home game in Europe for nearly 3 decades. That's on Talksport 2 from 8 o'clock. And over on Talksport in the same time slot, Feyenoord against Aston Villa in the Europa League. And that is at the De Kuip Stadium in Rotterdam, where Aston Villa won the European Cup final in 1982. Here's Munoz down the inside right channel, slides it forward towards Nketiah. Nketiah moving out of the penalty area was tracked all the way by Tiare, who did pretty well, but it goes out for a Palace throw.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Tiare, actually. He picked up the yellow card, didn't he, on Kamada, which I felt may have been a red on any other occasion. Elbowed him in the back of the head. But since then, he's done well. He's done well to keep away from a second yellow.
It'll be a long throw, this time for Jefferson Lerma. Lots of targets to aim for here. They're still committing men forwards, chasing a third goal. Lerma's throw, it's got loads of distance on it, only half away at the near post by Brajko, but then Dynamo complete the clearance, and then Borna Sosa dives in with a really ill thought out challenge and picks up a yellow card. There's no real need to do that.
I was going to say exactly the same. It's unnecessary. I think Ugandana was probably touched that off the pitch, actually. I don't feel there was any break, any real trouble. It was right in deep in their own half. It was unnecessary from Sosa.
The voice there of the former Crystal Palace midfielder Darren Ambrose. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 2. Palace heading for the perfect start to their Conference League campaign. Had to come through the playoff round, had to beat Fredrikstad 1-0, but this is the competition proper, and they've made an early statement so far. Richards with defending to do, just nods that towards the near touchline. The Dynamo Kyiv left as we look at it. It'll be Dubinchak, the former Dnipro player, to take it, and then he just runs out of room as he tries a little 1-2 with Guerrero, and Guerrero's had a really, really tough game tonight. Player who did score a winning goal in what was ultimately a losing cause against Maccabi Tel Aviv in the Europa League qualifiers. He's got 22 caps for Panama, but he's found it really tough so far this evening. A couple of goals in the Ukrainian league this season.
It's been poor, I agree with you. Yeah, from minute one he had that touch, didn't he, that he over-touched it out for a throw-in. A minute later he miscontrolled it, went out for a corner. Sometimes you have games like that, and normally you see them substituted or come off, but he's allowed to carry on.
He's chested that ball down, and Dynamo tried to play it to Voloshin, who has looked their most dangerous attacking player, I'd argue, apart from maybe when Shaparenko's got between the lines. There's another challenge here on Timchik, and the referee's going to come across here to Borna Sosa and show a second yellow card. The Croatian is off. He's picked up 2 cautions in quick succession. A wry smile from him as he trudges off, and Crystal Palace have to play the last 14 minutes plus stoppage time with 10 men.
And Oliver Glasner will be so disappointed at his wing-back, Sosa. First one was really unnecessary. We just spoke about it. It's 2 minutes earlier, and this one's a yellow card. He's mistimed his challenge. He's stamped on the foot of the Dynamo player. And 2 yellow cards in, 2 minutes? It's stupid play from Sosa, has to be said.
It's an extraordinary thing to do with the closing stages of the game. For an experienced player as well, not somebody who is making his first few steps in the game. He trod on the boot of Timchik, and he went in at full speed in that challenge. It was clumsy, and once you've had the first yellow card, you're always in danger. And Lothar Dom, our Belgian referee, felt that was sufficient to warrant a second yellow card, and Palace down to 10. Here comes the free kick for Dynamo, whipped in left-footed, headed away by Ismail Assar as far as Shaparenko. Now it's with Ogundala. And to Dubinchak, curling cross from the left. Henderson with an early call, and nobody was really around him, and he's able to gather chest high.
It's just stupidity. It really is from Sosa. He's had a brilliant game as well. Good player down the left-hand side, but the first challenge more than the second one was just, we spoke about at the time, it's unnecessary. You put yourself in danger of a second yellow card. 2 minutes later he does that. I just think it's foolishness from him.
Oliver Glasner, the Palace coach, is a very nice man, but he's also quite intense, and he's certainly not the type of coach I would want to disappoint. He was seething.
He certainly was, and it didn't look like he went and see him as he was heading down the tunnel. I think there'll be some harsh words, and I've been there when I've been sent off, and we was 1-0 up at the time when I was sent off, and you're just hoping it stays that way. Sosa will be in the dressing room hoping his team can see this game out at 2-0.
Did you win 1-0?
We won 2-1. No, we won 3-1 actually. Darren Bent scored 2, so he got me out of a hole.
So they played better after you got sent off, right? Okay. Ball played through here towards Guerrero and just hooked away by Lacroix, who felt there was an offside there. But it's going to be throw and nothing more than that. Here is Pikalionok, wearing number 8, strokes it across to Tiare. Can Dynamo Kyiv make the extra man count in the closing stages in Poland? Here is Shaparenko, feeds it down the inside left channel looking for Guerrero, but Lacroix just eased him off the ball, saw it out for a goal kick. I have to say, Maxence Lacroix has been imperious tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I think they all have across that back three. Lacroix, Richards, Gahey. And I just feel that, yes, they're down to 10 men, but if there's any group of players that can see the game out, I think this will be them. I did talk about them making a statement in terms of scoring more goals, but I think they'll just sit in the back 5 now with the 3 in front and just have Eddie Nketiah running around.
Going to make a couple more changes to Dynamo Kyiv in a bit. Alexander Karavayev is going to come on. So is Blanuta, who's the striker, but his Sar down the right for Palace, and that cross is far too close to the goalkeeper, Necheret. For the first time really tonight, Dynamo Kyiv are playing with a bit of belief, and he's taken the sending off of Borna Sosa to really make them think that they can get something out of this. Here is Ogundana, a young winger. And now Pikalionok plays it from right to left and tries to find Shaparenko on the edge of the box, but Munoz, who's been excellent tonight. He's able to cut it out. He is, to use fairly old phrase, proper Duracell bunny, Munoz, down that right-hand side. There's one for the teenagers.
Yeah, he really is. He might have hurt himself now, though. I don't know if he's I can't see him getting cramped, to be honest. He runs so much. It's incredible, the energy that he possesses, and he's done extremely well, as you said, down there. He's got his goal as well.
Other battery brands are available, of course. Vladislav Blanuta, who's a Romanian under-21 international striker, is going to come on for Shaparenko, and they're going to bring on Alexander Karavayev, who's a very experienced Ukrainian international, 49 caps for his country. He's going to come on as well, and he's a player with real experience. He's put the captain's armband on straight away, Karavayev, and he's come on for Timchik. And Timchik was clearly hurt by that challenge from Borna Sosa, so Karavayev's just moved down to the right-hand side. 81 gone in Lublin in Poland. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 2. The goals, if you're just joining us on Talksport 2, from Daniel Munoz in the first half and Ketia in the second. Here's Karavayev down the right for Kyiv. Oh, and it's touched into the side netting at the near post by Blanuta. It goes out for a goal kick. He just threw his boots at it and hoped that he could find the right angle. He didn't miss by much.
Nearly the substitutions combining both with their first touch. Karavayev with the captain's armband, Blanuta in the box. I thought it was in. From our angle, it hit the near netting, and the netting looked a ripple. It's one of those I thought it crept in, but no, it seems Dean Henderson had that covered, but could have been a great impact for those two.
Blanuta, who has come in from Craiova, had a spell in Italy with Pescara. Here's Munoz with the ball into the feet of Sarr on the edge of the area. Ismaila Sarr, and it's thumped away from him by Karavayev, and it actually came off Sarr and went out for a Dynamo Kyiv goal kick. But Sarr is the kind of player we know by now you can't take your eye off for a second.
Yeah, he's energetic up there, isn't he? He sniffs out chances similar to Eddie Nketiah, but again, that player Karavayev, who's just come on, helping his team out, covering the fullback position and clearing it.
Space here on the left for Dubinchak, and his cross was flicked on by Blanuta, and he actually took it away from Ogundana, who was coming in at the far post. Ogundana with his head in his hands, the ball's behind for a goal kick. And Dynamo Kyiv all of a sudden think they could do something against the 10 men.
But they've given them belief. They've given them belief, Crystal Palace, with that sending off of Sosa. And you're absolutely right, Ogundana got in front of Deveni at the back post. If he had just let that go, Blanuta, he was in. Maybe a header or a volley at a goal.
Of course, there is the financial reality when you look at these two clubs, and obviously Palace have great resources, and Dynamo Kyiv in a very, very difficult position at the moment because of the situation in their homeland, Ukraine. But you've got to remember, Dynamo Kyiv, a huge football club, a great institution of East European football. And here they come with Guerrero. Ogundana, he just took his eye off it at the last moment. Gay was able to come in and make the challenge, and they win a throw in their own left-back zone, Crystal Palace. The former Dynamo coach, Valery Lobanovsky, still seen as one of football's great pioneers. He had 3 spells in charge, took the team to the Champions League semis in 1999. He won 30 trophies. He was hailed as a master of pressing. He's one of the early adopters of data analysis. You listen to guys like Ralf Rangnick and other top coaches, they hail him as a real inspiration. This is a proper European team that Palace are up against, and they lead 2-0. Team playing its first ever league phase game in Europe. The referee has given a free kick Dynamo Kyiv's way. Final 6 minutes normal time here on Talksport 2. Dynamo 0, Palace 2. It was a strange one. That was Lerma just trying to hold his position. Just caught his man, yeah.
Just held him off, and he's gone down holding his face, and the referee's bought it.
A brush of the fingertips and no more than that. It's Pikalionok playing it across to Brashko inside left channel, 35 yards from goal. Played infield by Dubinchak on that left-hand side. Now Pikalionok, who's got on the ball a fair bit, the number 8 for Dynamo Kyiv since coming on. Threads it to Voloshin, who goes down. Richards dived into the challenge there and Voloshin went down. Referee said he took the ball. Play continues. Voloshin still down in the penalty area. That'll be very interesting to see whether Jan Boterberg, the video assistant, gets in touch with Lothar Don. Ball back into the area. Ogundana with the header across goal, and it's pounched by Henderson. Just grabs it before Planuta can get there. But Chris Richards took an almighty chance there.
Yeah, he did. I mean, on initial viewing, I did think he got the ball. I think he cleared the ball, and then the follow-through hit the player. And I think, having seen it again, I think that's what's happened. The official was right there. He's right in front of it, and he got it right as well. And they're still appealing for it, but I don't think anything's going to come of that.
It's a great call. Check is over. And there's no case to answer. And here's Nketiah. Inside right channel. And the whistle has gone. Palace's forward momentum is curtailed because of a foul off the ball, according to the referee. And Nketiah was starting to motor. We've got 4 minutes of normal time remaining in Poland, plus stoppage time here on Talksport 2. Palace with the 2-0 lead against Dynamo Kyiv. But if you are just joining us, Palace reduced to 10 men. Borna-Sosa sent off. Low ball in from Karavayev from the right-hand side. That's easily repelled. Comes out to Pikalyonok. And he tries to drift it down that right-hand side, but it's easily cleared by Palace. But they've given the ball away to Ogundana. Karavayev's cross, easy for Henderson. And time again, it's that final ball, final idea, final pass, cross. It's just not happening for Dynamo Kyiv.
No, it's not. You're absolutely right. The end product's not good enough. It's not been good enough all night for Dynamo Kyiv players. I just feel that they're so good at seeing these games out, Crystal Palace. They've gone to this low block now. Even Daniel Munoz had an opportunity a second ago to get forward, and he turned back out and come out. They're just going to see this game out. It's been a good showing actually from both sides, but I think Palace have edged it.
For a team that has 2 European games together as a unit, it's really quite something to have done what they've done.
Yeah, it certainly is. And again, that's hours and hours and hours on the training field. That's the management team, the coaches, and most of all the players buying into what they want to bring. I just think it's been a good showing, and they've handled, as you said earlier, a top European club reasonably well this evening.
What a moment for young Rio Cardines, who comes on for Daniel Munoz in that right wing-back role. Chance to shine on the European stage for him. Here is Dubinczak working it infield for Braszko. Braszko finding Guerrero. Forward now to Dubinczak, who tries to get the ball in from the left-hand side. It hits Richards. Again, Palace standing up strong. It's a throw, but nothing more than that. Guerrero infield to Braszko. Inside left channel for Dynamo Kyiv, who have not yet had a shot on target, but they do win a corner.
I have to say, Dynamo, I think they'll do well. I think they'll go far. I just think they've come across a well-organised, resilient Crystal Palace side, but I've seen enough of these to see that they'll go far in this competition.
Got a corner, Pikalyonok to take it. Whipped into the near post, and the header is on target from Karavayev, but it's straight to Henderson, who's able to make a comfortable save. But there was nobody anywhere near Karavayev at the near post.
He's done really well since he's come on, Karavayev. He's helped his defenders. He's got forward, he's setting up chances, and he's got the only shot, I think, on target in that header. He's done really well since arriving on the pitch, but that's what you want from your goalkeeper. He's not had much to do, Dean Henderson. He's there at the right time when you need him. Good positioning from him.
There's a real assurance about him, isn't there? About Dean Henderson, a real calm about his play.
Yeah, there certainly is. And for me, he's future England's number one when Pickford decides to end his international career. I think he's outstanding, Dean Henderson.
Here's Voloshin, inside left channel. Dances inside on his right foot, oh dear. Cheers from the travelling Palace fans. He got that all wrong, cut across it from range, and it was well wide of the target. We're well into the 90th minute here on Talksport 2. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 2.
And all you can hear is the travelling support. What a night they've had. As you said, their first game in the competition proper. and they've really enjoyed it, and they'll have a good travel home actually after this if it continues like this, with whatever stoppage time is going to be added.
I have to praise the Dynamo Kyiv fans as well.
Agreed.
Because let's not forget, it's an away game for them, and they've made the trip to Lublin in number. It's not an easy trip to make, of course, and they have supported their team with gusto, and they've continued to do that all the way through, even though their team has been behind the 8 ball for quite some time.
Yeah, there's a group behind the goal opposite to the travelling support as well, and they've done nothing but sing and dance, and they've got the Ukrainian flags, and the support's been really good, and you know, it's been a good match as well to go with it.
And you can't ignore the context. You can't ignore what Dynamo Kyiv have been through, what any Ukrainian team in Europe has been through. But taking the opportunity to represent their people, represent their country in what is such an incredibly difficult time. Here is Brazka, inside left channel for Dynamo Kyiv. We're into the first of 5 additional minutes at the end of the game. Crystal Palace are nearly there. Pikalyonok down the right-hand side. Karavaev's cross, and the header is off target from Blanuta. He was at an awkward angle, really, the young Romanian, and the ball dribbles wide of the target. You look at some of these guys who've come on and made a real difference, and you just wonder whether Shovkovsky will look at it and think, maybe I got the team selection wrong.
I was going to say exactly the same things. The substitutions that have come on have changed the game. I know they've come on against 10 players as opposed to 11. Kovarev in particular have come on, and they've looked as though that why weren't these players starting?
Oliver Glasner just shouting to young Rio Cardines about his positioning. Now Tiare under pressure from Sarr, and he played a bit of a nervy pass there, and they've got themselves in all kinds of trouble. Dynamo Kyiv with a couple of really wayward passes, but Palace weren't able to take full advantage there. Here's Dubinchak coming down the left-hand side. 3 more minutes separate Crystal Palace from a famous win. But here is Voloshin surging into the area, and who is there? Maxence Lacroix. Of course, Maxence Lacroix. He has been stellar, and he blocks the cross. Here's Ogundana. He'll go the long way round past young Cardines, who goes into the challenge with Voloshin and wins that challenge. Won a couple of challenges there. But the referee's going to pull it back for the first one, and I think he's going to give the free kick to Dynamo Kyiv.
Yeah, Cardines involved in a lot there. I mean, he went into the challenge in the box really dangerously, to be honest.
Ball is played short to Pikalyonok. Back now to Dubinchak, left-footed cross into the area, far too close to Henderson. Yet again, the final ball eludes Dynamo. They've got away trips to Samsunspor of Turkey, Omonia of Cyprus, and Italian outfit Fiorentina. The remaining home games are against Zrinski of Bosnia and Noah, the Armenian side, who Chelsea hammered in this competition last season. So they will look at it, Dynamo, and think, we've been on the wrong end of one tonight, but we can still make it.
Absolutely, as we said, Crystal Palace the favourites to win tonight, the favourites to win the whole thing. They had a game plan. They set up to stop Crystal Palace as opposed to playing themselves. Once they went a goal down, they have gone for it. 2 goals down, 10 men, they've really gone for it. I've seen enough of them. As I said, I think they'll go far in this competition. They've just come up against a really well-organised Crystal Palace.
Here's Nketiah, wide on the left-hand side, spins, turns in field, rolls it into the penalty area. One with the shot, beaten away by the goalkeeper. Cardines came in on the follow-up and had his shot charged down. And actually, the referee has stopped it because the Dynamo Kyiv player down in the penalty area. And it was his judgment that was severe enough to stop the play. I'm sure Palace don't agree with that. Certainly their fans don't. Well, that would have topped it off, the first Palace goal for Adam Wharton.
Yeah, it would. He doesn't get forward a lot in terms of getting into the box. It's a good strike. It was creeping into the back post. And then young Cardines come in, and I don't feel that warranted stoppage, to be honest. It was a good block from the defender. And he's taken a knock to his knee. I don't feel that should have been stopped, to be honest.
What a year this is turning out to be. FA Cup winners, Community Shield winners, and seconds away from being winners in the league phase of the Conference League. There's a whole generation of Palace fans that are quite stunned that this has happened, didn't think that it would happen, but the day has arrived and they have really risen to the challenge tonight.
They certainly have. I know people that I know that are Palace fans, and their kids have grown up in the successful times. They didn't know in 2010 they nearly went out of existence. They've seen FA Cup wins, Community Shield win, and now they've obviously witnessed this tonight. History for Crystal Palace.
Here's Sarr in the penalty area looking for the exclamation mark, and the right foot shot is blocked by young Ogundana, who's been full of energy since coming on. It's a corner to Palace.
Just got his touch on, didn't he, Ismaila Sarr? If he just brought that down, he could have hit a shot, clean shot. It was bouncing and he ended up getting blocked.
2025 continues to be the most historic of years for Crystal Palace. Their first ever win in the league phase of a European competition. They have beaten Dynamo Kyiv by 2-0. Daniel Munoz with a goal in the first half. Eddie Nketiah with a fine finish in the second. And they've made yet more club history by extending their unbeaten run to 19 games in all competitions. Palace have never done that before in their entire history. Oliver Glasner's Invincibles have done it again. Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 2, and Darren Ambrose. They really rose to the challenge and fully deserved that win.
Fully deserved it. Made it hard for themselves in the end, didn't they, with the red card for Borna Sosa? But they see it out wonderfully. It was a great performance, a great European performance from a team so inexperienced in Europe. It was brilliant, great to watch. Could have been more. They ended up settling for the 2-0 with the red card. It was a brilliant display, and Oliver Glasner has got his team 19 matches unbeaten. Incredible night for the travelling support.
Well, Oliver Glasner has overachieved wherever he's coached. In Austria, took Lask from the second tier into Europe, guided Wolfsburg into the Champions League, won the Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt, and reached a German Cup final. And with Crystal Palace, just the most phenomenal body of work. They love him, and he's loving every minute of being the Eagles manager right now.
And so he should be. He's got a team, a group of players, a group of staff behind him, a club that's bought into everything he wants. The ownership obviously loves him as well. He's going to be talked about as a sought-after manager. Whenever these big jobs come available, he's going to be on the list. But he's got a club here that really love him. You can see they're going over to the travelling support now. They're taking all the applaud, and so they should, because it was a great performance. And like I said, I can only praise. It was an experienced European performance from a team that has no experience in Europe.
The Palace fans away to the left have come to Lublin in their thousands. They've made it sound like a home game, quite frankly. They brought that Selhurst Park roar with them. What a day to say I was there. I saw Palace win in a European League phase game for the first time. And that's what it's all about. We talk too much, I think, sometimes in football, Darren, about the destination. We don't talk about the journey enough sometimes.
Absolutely. Look, we talk about the Europa League, the Europa Conference. They're in the Europa Conference. They're favourites to win it. And they showed this evening why they're favourites to win it. Got to feel for the Dynamo players, as we've spoken about a lot, playing in Poland, essentially an away game as well. Their support was fantastic. We've touched on that through comms. But they're rightly taking the plaudits now, the Crystal Palace players. 2,500 people, and by the way, there'll be more outside the stadium as well, yes, in and around Poland. It's been a historic night for them.
It's going to be quite the night in Lublin this evening. Jeremy Pino, just a word on him, made both of the goals, did it in very different ways. Brilliant cross to the far post for the first, and then a wonderful piece of skill down by the touchline for the second.
Yeah, brilliant, and he looks to have really settled in, and that's the biggest compliment I can pay him. He's new to the club, but he's settled in tremendously, like he's been here for years. He's one of those players that likes to get in that number 10 slot, coming off the wing, and as you said, the first delivery, floated one to the back post, unbelievable header, Daniel Munoz, and the second one, a lovely bit of skill to create the goal for Eddie Nketiah. I was really impressed with his performance.
Well, what a fantastic few days for Eddie Nketiah. Could this be the spark that really lifts him?
I hope so, because as we said, he's got a bit of criticism since being at the club. He's in a purple patch now, he's in a great vein of forms, particularly goal scoring, and he came on again, had one disallowed, didn't let it bother him, and scored after that. Really pleased for him.
My thanks as always to Darren Ambrose for his insight and his company. I've been your match commentator Kevin Hatchard. Coming up next here on Talksport 2, live Europa League action from the City grounds as Nottingham Forest prepare to face Midtjylland. The former Wolves goalkeeper Matt Murray and your match commentator Joe Shannon will bring you that one. But in Lublin, it is finished Dynamo Kyiv 0, Crystal Palace 2.